Welcome to The Funniest Thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where each week we share stories about how stepping out boldly always leads to better than expected outcomes.
Mamma mia.
I'm Darrell.
And I'm Ed.
And we're broadcasting live from CHOBO Studios in
beautiful downtown Van Nuys.
That's right. And speaking about celebrating where we are, what's
Yes.
this show about?
Today's show is called Up, Up, and Hooray!
Hooray!
Hooray! Woo! With Jesse Thirey, musician Jesse Thirey. Gratitude raises our mental altitude. It is the highest frequency we can attain and ignites a magnetic atmosphere of good that we can choose to activate anytime.
Yeah.
The moment we begin to contemplate all that we are grateful for, we attract more to be grateful for. But wait! That's not all. We can demonstrate better than expected outcomes to existing problems by choosing to be grateful for our desired result in advance.
Yeah.
On this episode, Darrell and Ed remind each other and listeners to utilize their God-given superpower of gratitude regularly. And during the second segment, Jubilant Jesse Thirey keeps things elevated with today's reading, which is prayer. Hey, what is the... Pal-al, what's that mean again? Butterworth, I think, mentioned it.
Pal-al, which is the Sanskrit origin of the word prayer, means to see oneself as wonderfully made.
It goes perfectly with our show about appreciation, gratitude. Why don't you tell people how to be a member of the Funniest Thing Club, and maybe they'll discover they already are a member.
That's right. Just to give you a quick description, if you're wondering what is a member of the Funniest Thing Club.
Yes, what is a member of the Funniest Thing Club? Am I one?
Yeah, I think you are, because we're a group of truth enthusiasts who live each day as ambassadors of God's love.
Wow.
As we consciously radiate love, we perform everyday miracles and experience better than expected outcomes.
Yes.
If you're already living this way or strive to, then you may consider yourself a member.
Yes.
We motivate one another by simply sharing how miracles occurred naturally in our circumstances as the result of living lovingly and expectantly.
Yes.
Which is what this show's a lot about, has a lot to do with living lovingly and expectantly, because gratitude is really one of the highest forms of love that we can choose. That's the best that we can choose to begin to feel, that does cause positive changes that we can expect to happen within our circumstances, within other people, within ourselves.
Well, it's the first step of generosity, because it's something really we're giving out. We start giving our appreciation and our gratitude towards the things that we're thinking about. So our energy starts to flow. It really became clear to me yesterday. That's why giving is the first step in receiving. Because as soon as we start opening our energy to give, and that's a mental process, emotional process first, we immediately start to receive great feedback. We got great readings about that. Jump on the Patreon, for crying out loud, at patreon.com/funniest thing. You guys are helping this show stay afloat, not just stay afloat, float buoyantly, joyously.
And get the message. It helps us continue to do this, to continue to have other people discover the great things we're discovering and you're discovering in a fun and easy to discover way.
Patreon.com/funniest thing is where you're going to want to go. Push one of the buttons. Start giving a monthly contribution. You're going to love the way you look. If you want to send us something, Funniest Thing, P.O. Box 1312, Culver City, California, 90232. In the mail this week.
Speaking of P.O. Box,
a mystery was resolved. These postcards were floating around, hither and thither. What do they call it? Hither and thither? All about. And we finally solved the mystery. They have arrived, along with a generous tithe. So thank you, Lois Conklin. A beautiful card here. Sending love to my favorite podcasters and YouTubers. That's right. Get on YouTube. Go to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Subscribe, like the videos, comment.
Yeah.
You will see these beautiful cards and postcards that Lois sends us. And so do so now. We're right at 500 viewers. So jump on, please. Plus, it's just, you get to see CHOBO Studios. It's a beautiful place. And you get to see Indy's face doing things like he just did. Look at that. You can't You can't pay for that kind of stuff, man, that kind of content.
No, sir.
Okay, so Lois said, your weekly programs always hit the spot. I love your guests. Well, you're going to love our guests today as well, and wish I could meet all of them and have a visit. That's something we can all visualize happening.
Yes.
We want Lois in the chair. All right. Glad so many positive people are sharing on this earth. You all are the hope of mankind today. Love you, Lois Conklin. Beautiful. Thank you. On top of that, we got a postcard because remember, there was a backlog. These things were floating around God knows where. I look forward to a sunny future starting now, said Lois.
They're probably blessing the mail work, the postal workers.
I know. These things have been floating around like little angels, hither and thither, blessing everyone wherever they go. So it says, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sunshine warm up your face. May the rains fall softly upon the fields until we meet again. May God hold you in the palm of his hand. That's a Gaelic blessing. Thank you for continuing to bring joy and inspiration every week. Here's another one from Lois.
And these are original artwork on these postcards.
Yeah, they're
which
amazing.
Is fun to do.
Yeah. Do what you can with what you have wherever you are. I think that's a repeat. So here's a new one. One positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. Go for it.
That's really what this is.
There's
how
no
simple.
address on that
I know
one.
it got two and no stamp. Two of these things have gotten to us miraculously. Look, with no stamp and no address. So say what you want about the U.S. Postal Service, and I am telling you, they are miracle workers. But this last thing, I just want to read this again because
yes, please do.
The whole I could talk for myself and Ed.
Yep.
Because I know Ed as much as myself over these past 102 years we've known each other. And it's this. The greatest discovery about these principles and this philosophy is, it goes all the way back to the teachings of Jesus and many others. The key component is it's simple. It doesn't take a lot of heavy lifting.
No.
And her little comment here is something, we should all have like magic markered on our foreheads so we see it every time we look in the mirror. I'm going to read it again because this is really something that can kick off gratitude and is a powerful, very powerful statement. And it may seem like it's, that's nice. No, this is the truth right here. One positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. And I'll even say one positive thought at any time during your day will transform your circumstances for the better.
Yep.
This stuff is great stuff.
That's why Emmett Fox called it the golden key, man.
Yes.
It's acknowledging the presence of God in every moment, and that changes everything. It allows the light to flow through us. It illuminates the room. It transforms situations. We realize that the nightmare we thought we were in was never even real. The other way is trying to solve nightmares and trying to manage things. But this way is to realize there's nothing to solve or manage because the nightmare was never real. So start living from a place of wellness and wholeness. And that to me is why I love this stuff. So, dear Darrell and Ed, to succeed in life, you need three things: a wishbone, that's to affirm and desire; a backbone, now don't be scared; and a funny bone. That's why you listen to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Sending love and blessings to you both. I don't know how it works out, but your weekly programs keep getting better and better. I'm so glad I found you. You make my week. Love, Lois Conklin.
You know what?
Thank you, Lois.
That is the perfect seg. Oh, no, we got a few more little we get posts and texts and all sorts of things.
Alexandra Bennett on YouTube said, you guys are the best. Thank you for all you do. Patty over in Culver City said, hi, guys. Just finished your latest episode and wanted to let you know I loved it. Very uplifting and hilarious. Leslie Laird said, oh, my gosh. What a great show with Sweet Nancy and Kathy. I have listened and watched nearly every episode of Funniest Things since its inception. In other words, I've enjoyed hundreds of them. This one is the top 3, probably in the number 1 position. Your enthusiasm and passion for sharing truth principles is such a great gift to us all. Thank you for all you do, and know that the ripple effects are eternal. We talk about this. The reason why we laugh all the time is because the enthusiasm of living this way makes us laugh at ourselves, the things we think. we don't plan jokes except the one that is pretty much the worst joke of the show.
At the end.
Times that people don't even realize is a joke. But the laughter is the laughter of God coming through us like, wow, how did we ever think so small about ourselves and about life? Thank goodness we are free and loved and supported. So, again, thanks to Lois Conklin. You can go to darrellanded.com. Let's just thank Chief Engineer Jeff Comfort out in Kansas City, Kansas.
Yes.
For handling the podcast portion. Because each week,
he takes us right into the comfort zone. Yeah.
The other person who keeps us comfortable is Indy Fawcett, CHOBO Studios, chobostudios.com, PodShuttle.io if you want to have your content edited for reels and shorts and such. How are you today, Indy?
Doing great. Love it. Saturday's my favorite day, y'all.
I hope that our musician friend hasn't already destroyed the dressing room.
Oh no, why don't you slide on over here? Look at his he's got an incredible scarf. His scarf is incredible. All day. Dollar store, baby.
Nice. Well,
now we know where Steven Tyler gets his scarves.
Yeah, all right.
He steals them from Jesse's closet.
I was about to throw the TV out the window, but I thought better of it.
No, don't throw it out until after you've been on the show.
So that's okay later. Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah. Let's get it recorded first, okay? Plus, we have a fake one that we give to our guests to throw out the window. So, let's see. Anything else before we get on to? Oh, do you want to share about why are these books on the table? Or do you have something else you want?
No, I'm excited to go into these 3 breaths before we talk about anything.
I think we should set up a little bit about the gratitude because this is going to be real funny. You want to do a reading?
Yes, let's do a reading.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Leslie Laird.
Because again, this show is called Up, Up, and Hooray because when we raise our vibration, and gratitude is a great way to do that, like I just said, that's when we start laughing. That's when we start sharing enthusiastically. That's where Eddie goes from a little schlub to this over-the-top excited guy who Indy has to turn down the volume on my mic because the glory and the grace of God, the joy of living starts to flow through me.
And I ride those levels.
Yeah, and we can't be contained. Darrell comes into the studio straight away on the joyous God soapbox, was so full of enthusiasm. He's ready for the show.
Yes.
So let's hear. Oh, we have a very special reading this week.
So we're going to kick off this show, and Leslie Laird actually mentioned Kathy. We had Kathy Norman and her mom, Nancy Norman.
Yes.
Real quick, I highly recommend, if you haven't checked it out already, Nancy Norman's weekly Infinity Prosperity Workshop.
Infinite Prosperity.
It's 7 a.m. on Thursdays, Eastern Time, and 7 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. You can go to joyoflife.org.
UnityJoyOfLife.org.
Oh, thank you. UnityJoyOfLife.org, O-R-G, to get the Zoom link. It's 4 o'clock in the evening on West Coast time. Darrell and Ed are on every week, and I highly recommend it. Also, her daughter, Kathy, has been on the show and was on the show with her mom, and I was just at Unity of Santa Barbara, where Kathy is one of the ministers.
UnitySB.org. You can tune into their weekly live stream.
This is the funny thing. We don't know how these shows come together every week, but they always do. And I'm glad we don't, because we turn it all over to God and we're just enthusiastic that it's going to come together. And that enthusiasm brings it together in the craziest ways. So we had the thought, Up, Up, and Hooray was going to be because you
title. Texted it to somebody and I was like, wow, that's a great title.
Yeah, Up, Up, and Hooray. Kathy Norman's service last week in Santa Barbara was all about gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared some things that are so on point that I said, Ed, this has got to be the show. And I had no idea we're actually going to share some of what she shared last week because I didn't even think to look for anything to top this. This is how good it is.
Yeah.
So if you want to see her deliver the goods, you can go to Unity of SB.
Just UnitySB.org.
Yeah, UnitySB.org.
They have a YouTube channel also, Unity of Santa Barbara.
Yes, so you can see her deliver this. But I'm just going to give you the nuts and bolts of it for our show today. And keep this in mind, folks. And this is all from Kathy Norman, what I'm about to read. there's a basic spiritual principle, a unity principle.
Yes.
It is the job of the universe to match whatever frequency you put out. Once you can accept that your vibrational self attracts matching energy, it becomes clear that if you want to experience something different in your life, you must somehow change the vibrations that you are putting out. Mm-hmm. And Kathy says here, one of her favorite quotes from Albert Einstein is, "Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way."
Yeah.
This is not philosophy. This is physics. Now, that's from a scientist, one of the greatest scientists. And here's the great news, folks. There is one vibration that is the anointing of increase of everything good. It is the portal to shifting from despair to joy. From everything that is going on in the third dimensional world, the news, the this, the that, my aches, my pains, my worries.
Right.
It will switch you from that to feeling like you are the luckiest person and things come to you without much effort. And that's the truth about gratitude. And moving right along to the last bit, bear with me. I might get in trouble because I stole her sermon off the pulpit after people left the church.
The truth comes out. Earlier, I said, "Where'd you get that?"
She gives it to me every show.
Now it turns out you snuck up and grabbed it.
Come on. Wait, my face is getting warm.
'Cause you're getting closer to the truth.
The truth is setting us free. Okay, you ready, folks?
Yeah.
Gratitude is the portal that'll shift you to where you want to be. Take a look at the things that are working in your life right now, the things that are going in your favor. And listen to the way she slipped something in this Bible quote that I kind of felt like what they were saying.
Yeah.
But this just makes it clear. And here it is. It's the passage in Matthew. Whoever has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away from him. And she even says, you'd have to admit, it sounds pretty kind of mean, right? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But there is a mystery to uncover here. And when you know it, it reveals the great truth. The answer to the mystery is hidden in one hidden word. It's gratitude. Now listen to the biblical verse now.
Yeah.
Whoever has gratitude will be given more, and he will have an abundance.
Yes. Yep.
Whoever does not have gratitude, even what he has, will be taken away.
Yeah.
Because when I don't have gratitude and we drop into self-pity. I do. No, I don't get things. What's the use? Why bother? You know what the universe does? Just like Einstein said, it's going to match that energy. It's going to go, oh, okay, I get the memo. So you really want it to go worse now, okay? And I'll start seeing, I'll be in traffic. It'll reflect back to me. But the best part is, once you shift it back, even while as soon as you catch yourself in the moment,
right?
Because God doesn't do spite work. The universe can't do spite work because it's a principle law. It's going to match your energy instantaneously.
Yeah.
So once I go, wait a minute, I don't want more of this. And I'll start going, ooh, I love my car.
Yeah.
It's something as simple as that. Oh, I'm so happy I have AC.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden things start changing, and it's like the Red Seas part, and the traffic opens up. So we really gave a great Kathy Norman sermon to kick off this show.
I know, man. It's amazing. I'm so happy the truth came out about where you got your greedy mitts on that thing. I wanted to read a little something from Ernest Holmes, and only a few lines, and then I wanted to read Ponder, and then we will breathe together. So Ernest Holmes on March 28th in this book, Science of Mind 365 or 365 Science of Mind as a daily reader. Well, just a few lines where he says, the divine gift is made, and as we awake to the realization of it, it is ours. This is the only secret of any power we may possess, though in reality we do not possess the power at all. We merely use it.
Yes.
And this is when you were talking, it's so clear to me because I'm updating my whole operating system like we talked about last week. And it's helping because it's, very related to my work and how I've related to that. So untangling that is helping me.
Yeah.
Because as much as I've given thanks for things and appreciated things in the past, there's also been like a schlub version of me that like gets so like basically has been controlled by fearful thoughts. Man, somewhere when I was waking up today and I was like blessing, like starting my spiritual practice because I needed to because my mind was feeling so constricted. I could see that I have given in the past my power over to the beliefs that other people had.
Yeah.
I would let these thoughts dominate my whole existence. When I was young, I was very anxious, and I'm still letting go of that. But like when I was young and I didn't have the tools, I just remember like I would just compile rules. Don't want to be bad. Don't want to be wrong. And I would just let all those rules. It didn't even matter. It might be a guy we were talking about this.
Yeah.
A guy at a TV show. Because I didn't have like someone sitting down and teaching me this stuff, like how to really think. I was just pulling bits and pieces
of information,
of
laws. Yeah.
And a lot of times it would be anyone who spoke with confidence. So I had this whole set of just mismatched beliefs, many of them not even grounded in reality. And that was my operating system. And I'm still letting it go. But a big part of letting that go is like realizing when I feel bad, my emotionally just constricted, it means these beliefs, they're not accurate. I've been being held hostage by these thoughts. And the challenge is to realize that like there's this whole other place that we can reside where these things they're not really controlling me. They're not controlling that I have more power. The power always exists, right? Like when I'm driving down the road, I was thinking another part of the science of this is that if I am in that restricted, just not joyful, appreciative place, I'm a magnet for the other minds around me that are thinking that way.
Yes.
And then when two or more are gathered, I think it works good or bad.
I agree.
We start to believe the nightmare. When two or more people are gathered to believe the nightmare, we start believing it is real because we're all seeing it, right? But the moment two or more are gathered and waking up from the nightmare, which is why it's great to have friends like Darrell and Reverend Nancy and Kathy and Stephen Tom Thorpe and Indy, when we agree to wake up, it makes it so much easier to see that it was never real in the first place. That's why I like what Ernest says, that the gift was already made. Everything you desire, it's already there, but we have to become a vibrational match to it. And we do that most easily by giving thanks. Again, giving. That's why giving is the first step in receiving. Giving thanks first. It's that person that you think is your problem, my problem. Give thanks for them instead. Just try giving thanks that they're there and see how the power of that seeming fear dissolves the moment you start giving thanks for it. Like Darrell described with his boss. I've been doing it with people at work. Give thanks for them and just see what happens. You become a different person. And the person you become is who you really are.
I got to say something because this is great. This is the thing to remember. If it's all energy, like Einstein says, it's science, it's physics.
Yeah.
Then what happens is, and if the universe is always matching our energy, like you said, when I start falling with my thoughts, to other than grateful thinking, which is like godlike thoughts, other than love, joy, a healthy anticipation, joyful expectation, and I start falling into self-pity or what's the use, woe is me, oh, why does this always have to happen to me? Well, what happens is we attract people who match that energy. Not just things and circumstances. And here's the thing that we're allowed to do. And things that we should be mindful of. And Kathy brought it up in her sermon as well. Since we're always tuning into an energy, some people we meet and we just don't we don't feel like we like them. And it just doesn't mean they're bad. It just means our energy isn't resonating with theirs.
Yeah, it really means that we don't like the way we feel in that situation.
Because it's not a matching energy.
And
we don't have to force. This was the mistake I used to not know. I used to always think that meant I had to force myself until I felt comfortable with that. But that doesn't work.
No.
we don't have to be with people we don't naturally in that moment resonate with.
That's right.
It's not bad or good.
That's right.
It's just healthy.
It's the truth. The only one we're responsible for resonating with is ourselves.
Yes.
So if trying to resonate with others is causing us to get out of alignment with ourselves, then it's not working.
That's right.
We have, like the practice I've been using, and I was telling Darrell about this the other day. In the morning, just acknowledge what you're good at, the things that you do well. Don't wait for someone else to tell you, like, this is changing my life. Just very matter-of-factly take an inventory of the things that you do well.
Yes.
Because this changes the motivation from, I'm going to go out there and someone's going to acknowledge I'm good at it, then I'll be good at it. No, the only one who really matters, do you acknowledge yourself? Do you know who you are? When you know who you are, then you are giving the gift of yourself to life. When you give the gift of that you have to life, life gives back to you generously.
Even thinking about the gifts you have to give
That's it.
raising your vibration. And here's the best part.
That's right.
Because success coaches often go, find people around, that you could bring into your team and,
Right.
that can help elevate you. You know what? That doesn't work because that's it's like fear-based problem solving.
That's right.
I need certain people so I can get what I want.
I know, then everyone in the room's going like, I'm gonna get. And they're all doing it together, but pretending they're not. It does not work.
But the greatest news is, and this is like a unity slogan I heard years ago.
Yeah.
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
So if you're just getting into this good feeling in the morning about what you're doing and you're enthusiastic about the things that are in your life going right now.
Yes.
Instead of what you have to overcome to get to where you want to be.
Yes. That's right.
That is going to attract people into your life that support your good.
Yeah.
And your good is going to come around effortlessly.
That's right. And because God has ways that you know not of. Like, I realized Kathy Norman recommended doing 10 big, bold things for the year in her talk. And I did that. And one of them was about my income and stuff, but my job. But the thing that occurred to me is I'm going to meet the people who I don't even know, or maybe I know them and don't know them that way, that are going to make that dream not only possible, but just normal. It's just the next logical step. So when we change the way we're vibrating, that's why I felt like the guitar player for Iron Maiden, headbanging along, because I was loving what you're saying so much.
I thought that was Angus Young.
Oh, yeah, or Angus Young. Yeah, he would do that as well. So because it's so true. When we change the way we feel about ourselves, we become a different person and we attract different people.
Let me just tell this quick story, and we could kick off the second half with this. So in a line, and then we got to do our 3 breaths.
Yeah, we got it all.
Going along with what we're saying, I've been doing a lot of, and I'm telling you, I'm doing a lot of this positive, affirmative, not like haven't always been doing it, but there's always another degree of it. Sure. And I don't want to make it sound like doing another degree or more of it is like more work in order to get somewhere. No, it actually is more delightful of a feeling.
Yeah.
So it's not work that's work. I don't even want to call it work. Work's a 4-letter word and ends in K. So we can just call it fun.
It's it's life. I mean, life affirming.
So learning more and doing more, and I could say partly because of the things I've been doing, attending Nancy's Infinite Workshop,
all of it,
prosperity workshop every week, committing to going to Uni of Santa Barbara, but mainly not convincing myself that I need to be with a group of people that I don't naturally resonate with anymore.
That's right.
And man, things are taking off.
Yeah.
So what happened is, over another one of the things I did this week, Ed, I started going through, you know how we start getting all these subscriptions in our email and we forget about them, and then we think, well, I don't want to unsubscribe because I might miss something.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
You got to say no to things. So I go, I don't like checking all these off. So I started deleting them.
Oh, very nice. Yes, that's great. Letting go.
And one of them,
clearing the way.
One of them I deleted off was the local bookstore.
Yeah.
Village Well. They carry my books.
Okay.
Break Out of Your Box and What If Godzilla Just Want a Hug.
All right. I love it. This is
and
great.
I was hanging on to it like, I shouldn't because...
Well, that's just because a lot of their books there don't follow the
Resonate.
same resonance as your book, but we do love them for carrying your book.
And also, it's like this feel bad, like I ought to receive all their emails because they have my book in their shop.
Yeah,
like this
right.
sick
Like,
obligation.
Yeah, no, I know. You don't know anyone anything.
No, it's all, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, but do you see that energy?
I got it, yep.
So I unsubscribed. This is just during this last week.
Great.
Yesterday, and I've been having this new joy about allowing
Yeah, it's so
myself-
good to let go of the things that don't feel good.
Yes.
Because we're all clinging to them and stuff. Yeah.
It's all obligation.
Obligation.
So that being said, in addition, thinking these good thoughts about Ed, pray for other people. If you want to get into a grateful mood and change your life, well, I don't know if I want to pray for, my friends to get too much because I want mine. Yeah, well, listen, folks, This is the best news. If you pray for your friend's success, guess what? You're going to get doubly blessed.
Yes.
Because we're all one.
That's right.
So I've been praying Ed's mustard seed of joyful expectancy about his future starts really growing, and he's like on fire about these opportunities that have just been waiting to come into his life.
Yes.
And I can't wait to hear about them.
Yes.
And I start feeling good. I think of our friend Stephen Tom Thorpe.
Yeah.
He gets cast, and he's so appreciative on the film or TV show that he gets cast more. In Indy, and I think of Indy's success here.
Yeah,
and his
man.
health.
So many shows, clients, just everything he loves doing.
So I start feeling so good, and then I start being able to accept my appreciation from others. Because I was at the service, and one of the speakers talked about my book and praised it.
Michael, we love you.
At Unity of Santa Barbara, and I actually felt a little ashamed.
Not only does he praise it, he gives it to anyone he thinks needs a New Thought book. He gives your book. He talks about it every week. At every service, he bought 15 copies for the bookstore there. So I just want to make sure.
Oh, he gave me a little pat on the back for my nice little book.
No, he talks about you like the New Thought teacher.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because in the past, it was thought of as like, oh, it's embarrassing to be praised, but criticize me, and I could, it's the weirdest thing.
I understand.
So I realized that, and I said, I got to let go of this.
Yes.
This idea of feeling ashamed when people are appreciating me.
That's amazing, because that's what I've been seeing for you. You're in there. You realize you are one of the greatest teachers on the planet with 2 amazing books out. So I've been affirming that. So go on.
Thank you. So yesterday, I get an email from the bookstore, and first one I went, these unsubscribe buttons. They don't work.
Yes.
There's someone always getting through.
Right.
Because I was like now anticipating I'm going to get all the other.
Yes.
And I had to go, no. Something overrode that. I opened it up, and it was, a letter from someone who works there as the events manager now.
Yeah.
And it said, Independent Bookstore Day, and I was like going, should I even read this?
All right.
It's coming up on April 29th.
Yes.
We're reaching out to, then I'm reading more, we're reaching out to the local authors to see if they'd like to have a table during a part of the day to talk about their books with people
Yes.
and fill out this form.
Okay.
So I said, why not?
Okay.
So I filled out the form.
Okay. Oh my God.
I don't know. I felt like, well, doors are opening.
No, I love it.
But now,
Let's take a breath to clear our mind.
seems like a good idea.
Up and away on my gratitude balloon.
Up and away on my gratitude balloon. Up and away
on my gratitude balloon. hop on your gratitude balloon, because coming up next, Jubilant Jesse Thirey keeps things elevated with today's reading, prayer, and a lot more secret little nuggets. Thank you, Ether Nuggets. Thank you for listening to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, live from CHOBO Studios.
Okay, ready? Ed is going, wait a minute, this doesn't sound like a good thing.
The Ladies Auxiliary. I ain't knocking on our women, I love them as much as you. But women sure are funny, and we all know that it's true. Riding on the subway or walking on the street, these things our women wear for hats have really got me beat. Some wind around like serpents, some look like ice cream cones. Some like flower gardens that blossom on their domes. Some look like grocery baskets, some look like rat traps. And you can never tell if they're going out or if they're coming back. One may have feather 10 feet in the sky, 15 yards of fishing net that falls down in her eyes. I love our women tenderly, oh weakness, we all got that. But you can sell a woman anything if you tell her it's a hat.
Our hats are off to you, ladies.
Yes. On that note, we like to welcome Jesse Thirey.
Hello.
An amazing musician who we first saw at the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living on a Sunday.
Are we going to tell them what I actually texted
So I was
you?
driving there a wee late, and Darrell.
I got there early. We decided one Sunday we're going to hit the Redondo Beach service because I woke up too late to go to Santa Barbara.
Right.
And Ed said he'd join me after I texted him. So we headed on down. I got there first.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what I was in for because that place can feel like a dusty tuxedo.
Right. Yeah, it's like because it's been around for a really long time, and it's a lot. Yeah, it's just very. You feel like you're in like 1978 in a way.
It's a big, beautiful place, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like dated a little
Yeah,
bit.
The vibe.
Incredible.
I think it could come really to life.
Yeah, and we've had Reverend Valerie on the show before.
We've
She's
had
amazing.
some great people from there, and you're one of them.
Right.
But this day, in spite of the overall kind of vibe being just a little stuffy,
Right.
all of a sudden you got on stage and you started playing the guitar, and I started getting so happy, like almost laughing, because, I'll just tell you what I started texting Ed. I said, Ed, where are you? You got to get here. The guy who's performing, it's like, dude, he's like a Beatle. He's doing the Beatle move. No, he's like the cartoon version of the Beatles.
Yes, that's
Because
exactly
the way
right.
you move and your joy and you're in great
Yeah.
shape. So you got like, you're thin and you're up there with your guitar.
My daughter makes fun of me for that move. She's like, you got to stop bobbing your head like that.
Oh, no,
man. No, that joy. And it wasn't just that. The music was great. The songs that were picked, I don't know if you picked them or they picked them. It doesn't matter. But I was like, man, we're in for a good show. And it was an okay show. Your part was the best part. So Ed comes in. He's like, oh, okay. But then when you started playing that next song.
Yeah.
But before that, Ed wasn't there when you said a quote from Woody Guthrie. Yes. And we repeated it on an episode of the show.
Yeah, we've
great,
shared it
that's
with many
cool.
people since
We've
then.
shared it with many people. And it was basically, I hate songs that are.
That make you feel like you're no good, that
Yeah.
make you feel like you're not enough this or not enough that. And, he's really long-winded. So
Yeah.
in that quote, too, he says, I resolved a long time ago, I'd rather die than play songs that don't make you feel good.
Yes.
Don't make you feel like you're worthy. And, so.
Right.
Well, we
That
are
makes sense.
in on that 100%. So when you said that quote, I was like, Ed, get in here. And then Ed made his appearance, and he got to hear you perform on the way
Yeah,
out.
you did not disappoint.
We were both so high from your performance and your vibe. We were thinking, we got to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite. I'm
Yeah.
stoked to be here. This is a great spot. It's cool. Indy, great host. Absolutely. Yeah.
Should we go right into the next number and then we'll chat a little bit? That second number that we talked about. Let's do that.
Let's see here.
Keep the music rolling, man. It's so nice to have a
yeah.
musician on the show.
So the first song, we should say, the reason we played it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Woody Guthrie song. It's just a silly little Woody Guthrie song, and the sort of the message that day was a mask or a hat. And had I been really prepared, it's all about hats. I would have totally like thrown that one out there, just for a minute or two.
Yeah.
But let's see. Oh, this is a retuning kind of song. 1 second.
All right, no worries. Should we put the mic down a little bit as well?
All right, I'll fix it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So, man, we are so excited, though. We're grateful you're here. We're so excited for the people up at Unity of Santa Barbara to meet you. I was telling you they were on the show a couple weeks ago, right? And
they're looking forward to having you come up there. Why don't you just say real quick about the miracle of that bookstore thing, so people wonder, or maybe why it was so outrageous of a laughter.
I know. We had a good laugh about the bookstore thing, but what I liked about your story was the fact that you let go of holding on to these messages that were clinging to your
subscribe.
What's it called? Clogging up your box, and you just started like I'll be a bad person if I let go, and maybe they'll think this of me or that or whatever. We think these things, but by letting go of all that dead weight, it's like you opened up the channel for something good to come to you. So like that's what happens when we let go of things that we think we need to cling to, but they're not really bringing us joy and gratitude, a real sense. When we let go, it's amazing. Then these new opportunities, the relationship. The law of adjustment takes over.
Yes, God's law of adjustment. And another thing I want to let the listeners know, all of us know, and this is a Catherine Ponder quote, and I want you to get this into your heads, because this is something we don't all believe, but it is a fact. Your greatest desire is the closest to you.
Right.
Your greatest desire isn't that your mind is saying, oh, that's hard to get, but that greatest desire is actually right here.
Right.
There's someone right here, or the opportunity is right here, but it was just this story, this subconscious story that it's so far away, or it's going to take a lot of effort.
You assign that distance to something like that.
Yes.
And really, it could be just right around the corner.
It is. Yeah. It is. Your greatest healing, your greatest desire, the greatest opportunity, whatever it is, it is the closest to us right now.
That's why the main task is to adjust our thinking. Because there's nothing more challenging for me during the day than to let go of this compulsive line of thinking that starts to sort of think itself. You know what I'm saying? But because that whole line of thinking has all these beliefs that go with it, but none of them are accurate. And that line, that belief system tends to think it's far away, it can't happen, I'm the one who has to do the work. But all we really have to do is bless those thoughts in the moment, bless ourselves, find a way to become receptive and open for the good. Because it is right there. It's always, like you said. The more we feel that negativity, the more that means the good is pushing up from within. It's trying to come out.
And that goes perfect with this next song, which is when we're grateful for what's right here.
That's right.
You appreciate what's close to you. Right?
Yeah.
And then that great desire comes walking right in the back door or through the window, the open window.
Yeah. Appreciating the simple thing, like that, really just finding anything to appreciate it doesn't matter. The universe, that energy is just what turns the key.
Amen.
All right.
If you're down and confused and you can't remember who you're talking to, concentration slip away, 'cause your baby's so far away. There's a rose in a fisted glove, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. Love the one you're with. Don't be angry, don't be sad, and don't sit crying over good times, 'cause there's a girl or a boy right next to you, and he's just waiting for something to do.
Yes.
And there's a rose in a fisted glove, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be the one you love, honey, love the one you're with.
that door closed. The groupies are trying to get in.
Yeah. While you get ready to share, let me read The Power of Words by Catherine Ponder.
Yes.
She says, each of us is a center of a field of influence. Whether our field of influence is positive or negative depends on the thoughts we think, which give authority to the words we speak. Not just some of our words are powerful agents of the mind. Instead, if any of our words have power, then they all have power. Thus, it is not in the few moments of prayer and meditation that we demonstrate the power of words, but also in the hours between our times of prayer and spiritual study. The whole world in these times needs our words of good. That is, our words of joy, praise, thanksgiving, and the almighty expectancy of good. When we give others the high vision of joyous, praiseful words, they inevitably respond to our high vision. Should I read this example, or should we go right into the talk?
Go ahead, Nick, it out.
Well, it's a good little example. She says, I know of a mother who was concerned over her child. And this is so true. I say this every time I work with children, because I work with children that people are concerned about.
Yeah, no, you actually, when I read this, I was thinking these are the kids that Ed actually works with.
And it is mind-blowing the progress they make in ways that I know not of. So it says, I know of a mother who is concerned over her child who is neither doing well in school nor in general attitudes and behavior. Finally, after having tried everything else, this mother remembered the power of words and began to say daily to this child, in spite of appearances, I love you and I think you're wonderful. Almost overnight, this child improved and became a happy, well-adjusted individual, and her school grades responded accordingly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
That's beautiful.
Yes, so we talked a bunch before at the break, and I know you had many thoughts. Where do you want to start? What's coming forward for you, buddy?
Okay, so I was sitting in there during
Yeah.
the first half, and like you can see the margins.
Bring
of
that
my
mic
papers
closer
are
to you.
just
If you're good.
filled with.
Oh, the mic.
The
Sorry,
mic
need to
up.
be closer. So I was sitting in there during the first half of the show. Is this better? Is this better, Andy? Cool. And the margins of my papers are just filled with like goofy little stuff.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Man, we love goofy
just
little
great
stuff.
stuff. So one thing that like really hit me, and it makes sense to me as a musician, is the idea of musicians call it sympathetic resonance.
Yeah.
And that's where, like on my guitar, I have an E string, and it's tuned to a certain frequency that's E. We call it E. And if you play that E string, not only will that string resonate, but if there were other guitars in this room that have a string tuned to E, they would sympathetically start resonating. You don't need to touch the string. You only need to play E
Right.
in the same room.
Wow.
And all of those other E's just light up.
Wow.
This is the physics Einstein's talking
It's
about.
wonderful, and it has to
Wow.
do with why a grand piano sounds so rich, too. So, like you play a big chord down here. You're not only hearing these notes, you're hearing all those other notes that are higher that are like sympathetically
Wow.
reaching out. So, and then another illustration of that is I used to work in a music shop, and this was like a goofy little thing that I would just do because it was incredible sympathetic resonance. After we would close, we had all of these instruments, and I would take this one little bamboo flute, just goofy little bamboo flute.
Right.
But, you could find one or two notes, and I would go into the acoustic room where there were 100 acoustic guitars, just nice ones too, right? And play one note, just like that, and then stop. So you only play the note for a second. And then the reverb and beautiful, sparkly, twinkly resonance continues for about another 20 seconds
Wow.
before it dies off. And mind you, I didn't touch a single guitar, but you get the whole room to sing
Wow.
with one note. And I think that's a really useful physical explanation of something that's like kind of abstract when we talk about like the power of attraction
Yeah.
or like, act as if, and it'll come to you like what you put out there comes back to you.
It comes back.
Can I say it too, based on something that Darrell said about like the room you're in? So if those guitars are tuned and they're receptive to that vibration, they're more you're going to hear more resonance, right?
Absolutely.
they're
So much
gonna
more.
come-
Just like with people,
Yeah.
if you're in a room full of people who want this stuff, who are practicing it on their own, you're going to get more resonance, right?
Right,
Than when you bring it, you're going to get it
response.
reflected back.
And conversely, though, if you're not in a room filled with guitars that are tuned, if they're not tuned, because that kind of
Right.
relies on organization, right? You have to be
Right.
like, all these guitars have to be, we have to agree that this is what you're going to tune to, but they won't sing back if they're not tuned.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that's like the other side of it, where maybe if you're not getting back what you're putting out, you're not in the right place.
Well, it makes
Yes.
sense. I had well-meaning people, very loving people throughout my early part of my life before I woke up to these ideas, and these were introduced to me only not by virtue, but because let's just say I got tired of hell. So I was so tired of hell, I came looking for heaven. But I couldn't even hear what they were saying. They would say loving things
I hear
to me.
that.
Because if I could look back now and go, wow, these people were... But my mind was so cut off, and I felt so cut off from those ideas. It almost felt like they were just saying niceties that I knew that's not going to work.
Yeah.
It sounded like platitudes. It sounded just like serving,
But looking back now, nothing they said was platitudes. It was very loving and encouraging, but I wasn't tuned at all.
That is...
But the great news,
a great way to look back at it. Yeah.
Just like a guitar, we can consider ourselves like God's instrument. And when this is the best part of it, I didn't have to tune myself to become in tune with these things. I just got to the point where I surrendered tuning my own guitar, because that's what I was doing. I was tuning my own self to the wrong frequency without realizing it.
Right.
But once I said, please just help me. I'll do anything. That's all I needed. That was the best prayer. Help me. I was receptive. I became receptive to now I was hearing the same things, and it was getting in. It made me hopeful.
And you were able to resonate with
it.
Like literally
then
and
people,
figuratively.
the people came along, like these teachers that we read about, that taught you how to tune your own guitar, right? Like that's what
continue to keep
by
it
doing the
tune.
morning routine, by meditating, by reading inspired things, by all these things we do, we learn to keep ourselves in tune, and then we can teach others too.
Yes. That's beautiful. Let me see what else I had.
Yeah. I love this.
And I really liked what you said. Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
They say that at Unity up there.
Yeah.
So and the word vibe, I think the word vibe gets kind of overused in popular culture because, just, oh man, you have such bad vibes, you have such good vibes. But really, that's a perfect explanation of what is happening.
Right.
Yes.
Like it's a musical vibration that goes out to create that sympathetic resonance. And through your life, you can put out a positive vibration. And it's a perfect word to describe what's happening there, though it kind of gets overused, I think, in popular culture.
It loses its oomph.
Yeah, but it has some oomph.
It has got a lot of oomph in its truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do we have here? Let me see here. And okay, so another thing. So Ed, I think you said this. The idea that you sort of stitched together during your life before you sort of found like this path. And this,
right.
You stitched together mismatched beliefs from people that were just basically speaking confidently.
Right.
And like talk a little bit more about that, because that's just interesting to me, because I think that we all kind of do that on some level. Everybody looks for like teachers.
Yeah.
And if you kind of just assemble like a patchwork of teachers without really curating what you're doing, like you can end up in different places. Yeah.
Well, I can speak to that for sure. One thing, Darrell and I discovered that the word con man means confidence. Yeah, someone who gains your confidence. So, and why I was so susceptible was because I wasn't taught how to trust my inner guidance to determine what was for me and what was not. And where that goes a step further with what we teach now and what we learn now is that there are principles that govern the universe, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And when we know what these principles are, then we can, for me, the more I've learned what these principles are, the more I can determine where, if that belief fits, or where does it fit, or how does it fit? Because it's principle, right? There's principles that lie. It's not someone can get as high as they want and sell this thing, and I might even get drawn in, but when I step back, I go back to my principles and decide, does that really fit?
Does this fit, or is it just a very confident person, a con man, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, right? Or someone who's just relying on their charisma to sell something that's based on these Some people don't mind tapping into your unconscious fears, worries to make themselves sell something or look good, or all these different things.
Primitive and efficient, probably, for...
Yeah.
Well, it's like a belief I had, and Ed and I were talking about this today. I don't know where I got this belief. I mean, it's a very old belief of mine, but it was, when you purchase a car, you got to consider. I mean, you want it to buy something that you're going to have for a long time. My father never told me that. I could have heard maybe it was John Walton on the Waltons said that to his son.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got it.
But you've been carrying that
But
with
I've been,
you?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't until, I was in my 20s when I started buying cars that I found out, well, wait, that necessarily is not the best way to go about, has a belief about car ownership, in general, especially for myself. But then that made me realize on YouTube, I've been watching a lot of art-related stuff because I'm into that. That's what I do. And this lady came on and I went, ooh, this looks good. But part of me knew by the title, Darrell, you may not want to be watching this, because it was how I went from art as a hobby to a career.
Right.
Uh-oh.
And it seemed like she was a sweet girl.
That's some of his famous last words. Whenever he calls someone a sweet person in that voice, we pretty much know where we're headed. But go ahead.
Yeah, unfortunately, that voice lives in my head, and that's the one that tricks me into watching these darn
me too.
things.
That's the only reason I said, because I know that voice in my own head.
But what happened was it turned into, how miraculously she has, now she has the Patreon, now she has this, now she's licensing her work, and it's just been a few years, and I started feeling really bad.
About yourself.
Of course.
Right,
I started
I do the same
judging
thing.
myself.
Yep.
Well, I never learned how to license my... That's not... I could have licensed things. I'm 60
Right,
years old.
right.
I need to learn how to do... And all of a sudden, it felt so bad, I had to throw it out the window. I know enough now not to own it so much, where I used to own this stuff.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I would own that feeling and start believing those thoughts as they were true.
Yep.
These anti-Darrell thoughts.
Right.
But this morning when we talked, and I'll wrap it up real quick. This morning when we talked, we were talking about the car belief, and I started to realize, Ed, that the thing that felt so bad about the delivery method, it was all get. It dawned on me. I was feeling bad because she was making it sound like, if you're doing art, then you better be getting. And let me show you how to get. So you can start getting this and getting that and getting this.
And now all the naysayers, they're all going to be on board with you. Like mom and dad who didn't really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Now you're finally going to be
And then-
real.
Chase that validation. Just chase that validation, that legitimacy.
And I go, I can't do that. I got to just be about giving. Because she even said, and I like teaching. That's my number one thing. And that's like, because I really love teaching, but I can't teach with the idea of getting. I got to just be, you know what, folks? Giving is the only way I can do this. Loving is the only, giving is living. And that's fine for her. And I was able to come back to myself like the prodigal son and start getting excited about the show that we're going to do today.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, this is the way I want to live. With this attitude, the giving attitude.
Yep.
And look at how we're provided for. Look at how we met. Look at how you ended up in the show. Look how this is going to lead to a performance up at Santa Barbara.
Worked out pretty naturally.
But everything works out
Fucking-
naturally when we're just giving.
So what do you think about that whole idea of the patchwork especially now that we've shared our thoughts on it?
It's interesting because it makes me want to be more careful
Yes.
about
Yeah.
like what I let in or who, in the age of, we have all this technology,
Yes.
endless amounts of things to stream, and the algorithm more or less decides
Yes.
what you see and what we all see.
Yes.
Right.
But you have to be a little bit careful with yourself and your attention. And I
Yeah.
think that plays into it, paying attention to your attention
Yeah.
so that you can tell the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
I
really
think
important.
A lot of what we teach, what we learn, what we share, and it's like the metaphysical understanding of what the Bible is about, which is the child within you. The Christ is within you. So at the end of the day, learning how to turn to that and trust that, we call it it's called intuition. Learning how to trust that, and that's all connected to our feelings, is so important, because I was inadvertently, confidence is with faith, confidelity. It's like we're always acting with confidence in something. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, the thing that will free every person on the planet is when they realize that it is within us. The Christ is within us, and every one of us has it. And when we trust that, it will open doors. It will heal us. It will rearrange everything so that we can fully express the truth of who we are. And that's why they say, oh, game changer. This really does. It changes the whole game that we're playing. Because now the game is to stay in tune with that Christ within us, with that understanding, with that intuition, which is what everyone really desires.
Can I say something quick? I like that you brought up we got to watch where we're putting our attention. And we were talking the other day, and I heard this from Reverend Ike. There's two things that get in the way of our success. Two things. It's allowing ourselves to be distracted and offended. And with what's on our phone. I mean, now it's so easy. We have this with us all the time, the phone.
It's horrendous.
And it's so easy to, and this is the best thing, think about it, to tune into the news.
Yeah.
To tune into that video. I started knowing when she said 5 words, I started to feel I was tuning into something that wasn't resonating with me. But I go, well, maybe it'll get better. But I should have listened in that moment. Tune out of this. This doesn't resonate with you. But here's the trap. Because it's a confidence thing. Now I'm putting my faith in this because of the title. Maybe this is something I need to learn. What happens is that voice that's saying, oh, this feels bad, mistakenly gets switched into a thought that goes, you need to learn this stuff.
That's the guise that stuff like that comes in.
Yeah.
It comes wrapped in a nice package where you're like, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to add value to my life. And sometimes it's a little guile and it's not quite what it's purporting to be.
And it becomes like, and this is something Kathy said, a minister told us, a great minister told the lady who spoke, Kathy Norman, he said, Nuys is like a spider's web. An insect hops on the web, and before he knows it, he's tangled all up in it.
Yeah.
And when we choose to tune in, this is the best part. I don't even realize it, but this is what we're doing, folks. Like this whole show is turning out to be all about vibration. I'm tuning into that vibration.
Like a radio frequency or a channel. Yeah.
And I'm feeling bad. And as long as I continue to tune in, I become more and more into that vibration, and I'm less of the higher vibration that I was naturally on before I tuned into that.
We tune our device to that frequency, and then that device tunes our mind.
Yeah.
We're tuning our mind.
Yeah, and
this
we start
becomes
vibrating.
like a tuner, like a guitar tuner.
And we start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
And that is interesting. What we take in very much colors our perception.
Oh, yeah.
Further in life. And now we're kind of talking about, like social media and
yeah.
But it's interesting. Yeah. Paying attention to your attention. Like a mentor of mine said, what you pay attention to grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's something that it's my daughter's grandfather. And he's totally right. What you pay attention to grows. If you pay attention to your troubles, you will find yourself constantly in your troubles. If you pay attention to what's working for you.
Yes.
Well,
It's
Darrell
gonna
taught
keep
me a
growing.
fascinating thing about this because I was trying to take a picture of the full moon, and then, you try to do that, and it turns into like this little white speck. It
It's
doesn't.
very, not unimpressive. It's anticlimactic.
Right,
You get that photo and you're like.
But what he taught, but what I learned from it is that from Darrell, and if you really start looking around, your mind auto focuses on what your vision
and
your
enlarges
field of vision
transforms.
It's actually pulling you closer because I'm paying attention to you. You are growing larger in my field of vision, and that is exact reflection of what happens in our mind.
So you're saying in the moon photo, you're saying your mind is so attracted to the moon that when we look at the moon, it actually looks like it's bigger than
it
it
visually
is.
pulls it in. And not only that, the reason, because it doesn't get that much larger when it's close to the horizon, but it has something it's all relative to what's around it. It's crazy.
I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about this. And he said that a way to get away from that is to like turn around and look through your legs, look upside down at the same phenomena. And the moon will seem just as small and insignificant as it always was. But that phenomenon you're talking about is very interesting. Yeah.
So when you take a little box, your mind focuses in on that. Whatever is in there becomes your reality. And the same thing's happening in our brain when we start focusing on these situations and we're running them in our brain. That's why the meditation is so good, because it's important. Let go of focusing your mind's eye on that story and take in this vast reality we're living in. once our mind's eye relaxes, focus, and lets go of that, then we can start choosing where we want to focus again.
Yeah.
Because I believe this is kind of connected to the concept of karma, which is there's a momentum to the thoughts we've been thinking for a longer period of time. So you can't just, it's like also the metaphor of you can't just go from 90 miles an hour one way on the freeway to flipping at U-turn and going the other way. You have to pull off.
You can't just jump out of that car. That's going to go bad for you.
Yeah, whatever you try to do,
slow it down.
you got to pull off, slow down,
Yeah.
turn back around, accelerate back in the other direction.
Yes.
Meditation and these practices allow us to do that. And it's so liberating. Our whole energy, my whole countenance just keeps changing because lately I'm detoxing and changing my thinking so much. It's like I go from thinking, oh, I'm worse than I ever was with regards to I'm more ingrained in this thought than I ever was. But then I just convince myself, no, just meditate, do some reading.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's being released. And as soon as it's like, whoa, because now I'm start giving my love. I start appreciating. And now I'm like, no wonder things didn't work the way I wanted them to before, because I was waiting for everyone else to go, we know how great you are, Ed. And we know now it's like, no, all I'm coming to do is share because I'm checking in and going, if I think great things about you, then God, I got to be in the same boat. What are the gifts God put in me? And like really just take like an objective look at myself and say, those gifts didn't disappear just because I'm having a bad moment. Let's tune back into those things. And maybe, let's see, maybe I can share them in a new way, or maybe I just by going for a walk, I'll end up sharing my joy and I'll have this connection with someone I didn't expect to meet. Just things happen, man. It's amazing.
Things happen.
Amen.
When you're on your gratitude balloon.
And
That's right.
the fifth dimension, up and away.
It's funny because in New Thought, that's what they call the fifth dimension, which is beyond. Michael Schoonover talks about fifth dimensional living.
Oh, that's a term? That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. It's more than just a band.
Exactly. Because they were all about consciousness expansion back then, so they were not...
the Age of Aquarius.
Yeah,
that's another
album.
song I was considering bringing around. It's a little bit chordier than Woody Guthrie, though.
Yeah. Well, I think three-dimensional is like when we see 3D.
Right here.
Four-dimensional is you add time into the equation because it's physics. If you add time, it becomes four-dimensional because the whole thing is now moving through time, right? Fifth dimension, I think, is the reality that exists beyond time and space, which is like pure consciousness, which is divine mind, which is what Unity was all about. Like these teachers were all about going beyond like psychic realms, because in psychic realms you can all these thoughts patterns are existing in the psychic realm and you can tune into any one of those. When you go into divine mind, which is like our divinity, it automatically adjusts everything
For the better.
and that's the power that Ernest Holmes described. Is we get a first-hand account of this power that already exists that we've been thirsting for, because like the prodigal son, we've been running in the wrong direction and trying to party without God, right? Because even like I said this at the talk with Nancy, this is the key. This is why we are so happy and why we laugh so much. Is the real party begins when we come back to God. Because even in the story of the prodigal son, the father, when he came back, what did he do? He threw a party.
Welcomed him.
He gave him a robe. He's like, kill the fat, get the finest meat. Here's a ring. Everything he was looking for was already there when he returned to himself. And now it was coming to him in a way that didn't end up him living in the pig's pen, and feeling like crap the day after. Now he was who he really was, and it's just a wonderful thing that we can all come back to ourselves and find everything we've been looking for.
Yep. That's a beautiful thing. I'm realizing now that I had some quotes that I was looking at last night.
Yeah,
I was
let's hear
looking
it.
at gratitude quotes. However, they're all on my phone out in my car right now.
Oh.
But I've got one, and I'm going to mess up the quote, but
That's okay.
It doesn't matter.
We mess them up all the time.
The sentiment is there.
Yes.
But it was I don't even know who said it now, but it was essentially, remember to be grateful for what you have right now, because at one point, that was something that you wanted really, really bad.
Oh, that's a great one.
And
so
I was reading that last night, and I was like kind of struck by that, because I was, I just moved into this condo, and I had been living there for about 2 years. But at one point, I was really wondering how I was going to find like a little foothold of stability, and that was something that I really, really wanted. And as I was laying there last night, I was like, wow, I really am grateful to be right where I am right
Yeah.
now, and have that little bit of stability that I wanted for years. You
Yeah.
know, just in the form of like a place to live, like just a solid place to live.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, my healing last night came in my meditation was I got into this place where I just said, I give myself full permission to fully celebrate now. And all those voices that were like stressed, worried, waiting on things, I was like, nope, I'm not waiting for that thing to happen, but I'm kicking off the party now.
Yeah.
I've come back to myself in this moment, like the prodigal son. It's time to party now. And then by doing that, we get more good to celebrate.
Completely.
This is what the show is all about.
Comes back to you.
Do we have a reading called Prayer?
Oh, it's right here.
Oh, you want to read that?
I want to
forgot.
say one last quote.
Yeah, while you
reminded
grab
me
that,
of,
let's hear it.
Jesse, and I don't know who said it either, and I probably jumble it, but I heard it not too long ago. I don't know if Kirk shared it with us on a card. This is someone who sends us mail from Germany, but it was, if you're having trouble being grateful for what you have right now, just imagine how much striving it would take to bring it into your life if you didn't already have it. Mm-hmm. And it makes me go, oh my God.
Oh my God, yes.
The car, the
thankful
house,
for everything
the
here.
girlfriend,
Yeah.
The wife. I started going, holy mackerel. Imagine if you had
Yeah.
to really make all this in your
From
life.
scratch.
From scratch.
Everything that magically coordinated to get you right here, right
Yeah.
now.
So I go, woo. And one other thing
Wow.
Kirk said the other day regarding the news, we got to remember that all the news is, it's shouting out anomalies, not the norm.
True. That's why it's noteworthy, because it's not normal.
It's not
right?
normal.
That's why it's newsworthy.
Because 99% of the world is not in the chaotic state or in the horrific or going through these horrors that we're hearing. They're few and far between, and that's why they're in the news.
Yeah.
But if we keep watching it,
Right.
just like the moon gets bigger in our vision,
You lose that perspective.
we lose
Yeah.
it. We think, oh my God, what's the use?
Whereas that first quote, that unlocks the kingdom by
Yeah.
appreciating what we have.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense, because then we realize also, wow, there's probably a lot more of that going to come, because I
yes,
didn't really,
it does.
Yeah.
that stuff didn't come through me struggling really.
No.
It usually came when I opened up and let it in.
It all did.
All of it. Yeah. So it kind of like by appreciating our success, it really does set us up for success, because you don't meet the people you meet that are successful. They're not like, oh, do you like me? Do you think this is good? Oh, okay, good. Now I'm successful. No, you meet someone because they're calm, they're poised, they're relaxed,
joyful,
they're generous, they're joyful.
happy.
And that energy, like the sympathetic energy, makes you want to act exactly the same
Yeah.
way. Like when you're
Totally.
around somebody that's comfortable
Oh.
with themselves, you feel comfortable with yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that, even if you aren't naturally, it kind of brings a little bit more of that out of
100%.
you.
Yes.
And you want to spend more time around that person.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's interesting.
Great. Let's hear your reading, and then
All right,
we got a
let's see.
story, and then we'll sing out.
The reading's called Prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer it is.
I enrich
Ooh,
my
prayer
life
it
through
is.
prayer.
Prayer it is.
Move that mic a little closer.
Move a little closer. How's this? Check 1, check 2.
Great.
Prayer. I enrich my life through prayer. Prayer is essential to my life, whether my prayer time is a quick affirmation of truth or a longer time in the silence. I begin my morning with a thought of gratitude for the new day and set the stage for a day bright with promise and possibility. Through my prayer practice, I cope more easily with daily stresses or unexpected turns of events. If I feel overwhelmed, I pause to calm my thoughts and remember I have the strength and power within to handle any situation I face. At day's end, I relax and give thanks for all that took place, the good and the not so good. Knowing each activity and step keeps me learning and growing. I am grateful throughout the day as I practice the presence of God through prayer. The prayer of the righteous is powerful and effective. James 5:16.
Wow.
And righteous just means the right use of our mind,
Yes.
meaning thinking along positive lines. It doesn't mean a group of people who are. I used to think, oh, I'm not righteous.
Well, that's why it feels so bad. Often the people who use righteous, because they are not rightly using their mind while they're saying
Yeah.
righteous.
They're like the overusing vibes people.
Yeah.
Righteous. Like
They're-
that's
Yeah.
kind of like,
There were only two great
Similar.
sages that used the word righteous properly.
Oh,
Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
I was gonna say I would rather hear a heavy metal guy in the audience go, "This is righteous,"
Yes.
than someone on a pulpit trying to determine who in their congregation or whatever is righteous
deserving.
or not.
Righteous
Yeah.
enough, yeah.
Oh man, they're due for a good swift kick in the joyous ass when they get done with this lifetime. But
we
the
gonna-
good news is it'll be full of love.
Are we going to surprise Jesse with the TMZ
Yes.
Rockstar edition that we found?
Oh, you guys
Yeah.
found some news about
We
me?
found some
so
dirt.
I hear.
Right. Okay. I was just reminded of a joke, but
Okay.
another time.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is straight off TMZ and New Thought edition. So, Darrell and Ed went to talk to Jesse backstage after an amazing performance similar to Redondo, you know? We were surprised when we found Jesse looking sad. We asked him what happened, and Jesse replied,
Well, I finally told my father that I'm living my dream of being a folk guitarist.
Darrell and Ed, we were confused. We said, what did he say? Jesse shrugged.
He asked me if I knew the difference between a folk guitarist and a large pizza. I told him I didn't, so he told me.
Well, what did he tell you?
He said a large pizza can feed a family.
Oh my God! Oh. It hurts because it's real. That was too real. That was too real. Oh my God!
Oops, we
No.
finally got a real one.
That's awesome.
Oops, prayer it is. Prayer it
is.
is. Okay, Mr. Theory, will you please
Are we
grab
gonna-
your guitar
we gonna
to
hit it?
sing us out?
Groovy? Let's
'Cause
see.
we really want to thank you for something.
Yes, that you helped us become during the show, or
Yes.
allowed us to be more of.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get this going. You guys join me on the court?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see what we got here.
We got the mic in the right spot.
Lower it just a bit and you're good.
Okay.
Lower the hair.
Let's see what we got here. 1 second.
Yep. That's amazing how about the tuning. What we tuning in, when they say tune in, beware of what we tune into.
Yeah.
I love that tuning. It's like a tuning peg in our brain. It's amazing. Yeah, you don't want to tune to that stuff or you'll see it everywhere.
Yeah, if you got a head full of dread, tune into Darrell and Ed instead.
Yeah, baby.
You're so good.
Well, thank you. God, don't blame me.
Oh wait! Before
God
we do
did
this, Before we do this, I thought you were going to say this, but I wrote this down because this just like hit me. You got so many Darrellisms, we'll call it, and
He's got a bad case of Darrellism.
you said this before. Can I say your quote
Yeah,
before?
of course. I probably stole it from someone else who can't remember.
Well, you tell me if it's an original. If it's an original, you really got some magic going on over there. If you're resting on your laurels, you're wearing them wrong.
Yeah, you're wearing them on the wrong end.
You're wearing them on the wrong end. And that's perfect, because it's supposed to be a little bit of a crown.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know what they were. They're like the little Caesar
Yeah.
leaf crown thing.
Yeah, it means
Yeah.
don't rely on your past or your position. You got to keep living this stuff.
Yeah.
Gratitude is something we got to keep practicing.
Amen. And I want to thank you
For letting
me be myself.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me be myself again. I want to thank you for letting me be myself again. Thank you for letting me be
This is Darrell and
myself.
Ed. Define
Again.
DarrellandEd.com to find easy links to everything we do, including funniest thing. As always, by the way, thank you, Jesse Thirey, for coming into the studio. You are amazing. We love you. Thank you to CHOBO Studios, Choby Fawcett. We love you. Thank you, Jeff Comer.
He's raising the roof.
As always, thank you for being part. Funniest thing with Darrell and Ed, right here at CHOBO Studios. Here we go, boys.
I want to
Thank you for letting me be myself again.
One more time.
I want to
Thank you for letting me be myself again.
That was fun, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Genuine gratitude.
That was amazing.